more information about the up and coming Berserker Bowl tournament has been revealed, including some new fighters and some interesting stuff. In particular, the stocks of Ryuki have shot through the roof. He has approached Kiryu Setsuna, asking him to train him. Very promising stuff. We know Ryuki's reason for entering the tournament is because he wants to fight Koga, most likely to see whether or not Koga has truly surpassed him. And considering that Ryuki actually wants training, he may feel inferior to Koga currently, which is pretty good stuff. I've mentioned my issues I've been having with Ryuki recently. Alongside Koga, he's meant to be the protagonist of Kengan Omega, and I've just been wanting more from him, and as a whole, he does have technically more story importance as the Omega relating to Gaoh, which, you know, connects to everyone, and then all the stuff going on with the connector, which most likely connects to him as well. He's called the connector by Nathan. Everything like that, Ryuki's connection to the worm and the broader Kengan story is much more important than Koga, so just seeing more of him and getting a sense of him developing and getting stronger is something I've been waiting for. Some things Kiryu can offer is he is a master of some of the Nikko style, which is the direct evolution of the Gaoh style, so maybe enhancing some of Ryuki's Gaoh style techniques with his knowledge about the Nikko style could be pretty cool, or maybe even teaching him some of the Kawo style techniques. Maybe Kiryu's uncovered more apart from the Blink and Rakushasha's palm. I don't think he'll be able to teach Ryuki the palm, but maybe Blink could be something Ryuki could pick up. That could be very helpful. But overall, I'm guessing it's going to enhance his Gaoh style techniques with his Nikko style knowledge, which is going to be the main amp for Ryuki. So yeah, initially I thought Ryuki wasn't going to win this tournament, but with him getting trained by Kiryu prior, this is going to be a big help. But I'm still betting on my boy Cosmo currently. Something else to also consider is if Ryuki is willing to ask Kiryu for training, he may feel as though Kiryu is someone much superior to him in overall fighting ability, which is cool to see. I'm still waiting for Kiryu to do some crazy fighting stuff in Kengan Omega. But other things we learned in the most recent Kengan Omega chapter is how the actual tournament is going to be set up. As we know, there's around 25 people entering the tournament, but there's only really 8 spots for the main tournament itself. As you see on screen here, there's gonna be some preliminary fights, with the one person in each of these groups with the top score moving on to the championships or the main Berserker Bowl itself. So we have to predict 8 fighters who are going to make it. One thing to also mention quickly is Adam Dudley is a confirmed fighter, and at the end of the chapter it's mentioned that a new batch of contenders are going to come out of the woodwork for this. Before we have the arrival of Mysterious Weeb and his insane predictions, make sure to subscribe if you're a fan of fighting manga content that I provide on this channel, Mysterious Weeb. So my 8 predictions are as follows: Koga, Ryuki, Cosmo, Kim, Falcon, Himuro, Sorpang, and perhaps Adam Dudley or the Monk if I had to place my bet. This is also considering there's no other fighters that we've seen before, like people like Nitoku could very well enter the tournament considering the amount of money he could win. That's very promising. Or maybe even the Connector or Yarn could enter, as we do see them this chapter. Very close to Koga and the other supernovas, with of course Wu Long forgetting about what he said a few chapters ago about wanting to meet Koga, which is pretty expected of him at this point. You gotta feel bad for Yarn. But one of them two entering the tournament could be very bad news, and their reason probably connects to Ryuki and that whole storyline if they do enter, but I personally hope they do not. Something that I was quite shocked about that got revealed in chapter 161 is that right before the preliminaries are about to start, Sorpang vs Seki are in a Kengan match. We know Seki isn't entering the Berserker Bowl as he's saving himself for the new Kengan Annihilation tournament, but Sorpang is a confirmed fighter. The Mad Lad is fighting a Kengan match against Seki right before that. But let's have a look at the actual fighting itself. We don't see the whole fight, just a few pages of them clashing. It seems as though Sorpang is actually beating up Seki quite a bit, but they're both covered in blood everywhere, so I'm getting the sense that they're quite relative. and then the final panel of Seki actually headbutting Sorpang, which, as you know, Sorpang has the hardest skull in the world. He's known for his headbutts, and Seki's just headbutting him back, so respect to him, the true mad lad, and respect to Sorpang, the crazy dude, wanting to fight someone like Seki right before the tournament begins, with him wanting to get stronger and stronger. One possibility is Sorpang may be too injured from this fight, and that may be a reason he loses, maybe even in the preliminaries, which would be pretty cuck writing. I'm not the biggest fan of Sorpang, but I do enjoy his energy, and I know there are quite a few fans of Sorpang throughout the fandom. So if he was to get cucked for doing this, that would be very disappointing. I definitely want him to shine in the tournament, but we'll have to wait and see. Definitely mad lad energy coming from him. Himura, I think, is going to be very dangerous. He got cucked in Ashura quite a bit, and ever since then he's got quite a bit of love from the story itself, especially in Omega. So I think Sandovich is definitely going to give him some hype. Falcon, as I mentioned, may have been training with Rito and Kuroki as a possibility over the recent time skips, so his improvement could have been pretty crazy. Also considering he's standing under a waterfall, similar to how Kuroki and Rito begun their training, so that's something to remember as well. Cosmo gives us some hype for Adam, talking about his techniques reaching a whole new level since his street fighting days, and that he wants to fight him in the championship, so Cosmo thinks Adam is quite powerful. Of course, Cosmo is going to be an absolute monster in his own regard. The supernovas, we get more insight about their personalities this chapter. They all seem quite chill. The monk guy drinking, which is pretty funny, talking about how he's going to demonstrate secret techniques that you've never seen before. That's going to be pretty cool. I hope Sandovich takes this tournament nice and slow, that we don't get through like whole preliminary brackets in like single chapters. They just slowly give us the fights one by one. Maybe some side stuff, little backstories here and there. Don't rush through the fights. That will be very unfortunate. I still do think Kim will be the big supernova, apart from Koga, who's going to be, the mainstay making it through the tournament. Mainly as someone I believe is the highest ranked among the supernovas in the, whole purgatory ranking as an A-list fighter. And definitely at least mid-tier when it comes to A-list 2 years ago, most likely even higher now. And the fact that I just want to see a taekwondo fighter in Kengan Omega as well. The Worm has subtle hints throughout this chapter as well, talking about the terrorist actions they're still doing, the bombing and stuff like that. So even though, the technical leaders of the Worm aren't doing anything crazy, their worldwide influence is quite dangerous. But they also mentioned the Kengan Association's alliance had made with all the gangs to keep the Worm at bay. So again, hoping the Worm has no role in this. But again, Yan and the Connector are, just chilling amongst the regular people. They could probably really do anything they want at this point. And the last thing to go over today is we get to see the preliminaries arena. It doesn't seem like a regular ring out purgatory thing, as the crowd seems to be quite close and surrounding it, so maybe it's a Kengan style tournament where there's no ring out, which I'm personally hoping for, or maybe it's a point system, as they did mention the fighter in each of the brackets with the most points goes on to the top 8 things, so that's also something to mention. We'll have to wait and see. But that's everything for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to check out the other stuff in the description, Discord, Twitter, stuff like that. And of course, shout out to the Mad Lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's it guys. Peace.